Well, here at home, a little confusion about something Governor Walz did last night. He extended the peacetime emergency for our state to run about another month. And that had a lot of you asking us, wait, does that mean the stay-at-home order is going to go another month? The short answer is no. One doesn't mean the other will happen. To start, think of a peacetime emergency order not really affecting how you live your life day in and day out, while the stay-at-home order most definitely affects how you live your life day in and day out. Keeping that in mind, know that they are different executive orders by our governor, but that one typically comes before the other, meaning the peacetime emergency laid the groundwork for the governor to then go even further and declare the stay-at-home order. Now, that stay-at-home order is pretty extraordinary. It just doesn't happen often. The peacetime state of emergency order is relatively routine. Those happen several times a year for things like major snowstorms or flooding or any other big weather event. For example, since January of 2019, Governor Walz's team has called for a peacetime state of emergency several times. And what those do is basically speed up governing. So say a flood hits the farm country. In a peacetime state of emergency, our governor can quickly get the National Guard to whatever area is hit to help ASAP. In short, it just means the state is at a heightened sense of readiness for whatever the disaster. In this case, that disaster for our state is the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, the stay-at-home order. That is one of more than 30 orders that have come since we have been under peacetime emergency here in Minnesota. That order, as I mentioned before, is extremely rare. And no, it is a separate order. Just because the peacetime emergency has been extended until the second week of May, that doesn't mean stay at home automatically gets extended. If stay at home gets extended, that will come in an announcement that just hasn't happened yet.